I consider myself a low-key minimalist, and one thing I don't love here is that there's so many videos teaching you how to live your life with like 12 items that can all fit in a backpack. That's just not realistic for the majority of us. So I'm going to talk to you today about easy minimalism, which kind of happened to me by accident. Let's get into the video. So this is my kitchen. I live in a circa 1912 old house, not really renovated. The kitchen has quite a bit of space. I've got lots of cabinet spots. You know, one thing I don't adhere to, and I don't think that you have to either, is the need to really downsize the things you have in the kitchen. Sometimes I'm in here for 2 hours over the course of a day, cooking for everybody, cooking for myself, meal prep. I don't at all believe in not having multiples of kitchen utensils. I don't hand wash. You'll see here that I don't have like a dish rack. I don't hand wash anything because I hate doing that. And that just adds to the time in here that I don't like doing. I put everything in the dishwasher and it keeps it neater looking in here too. So my tactic is to have enough things so that if one of them is in the dishwasher, I still have another that I can use. So in fact, I have 2 of most things, 2 rubber spatulas, 2 whisks. That works for me. I have the space. That's just not somewhere where I want to be extremely minimalist. My goal, and that's the important thing here, it's your goals. My goal is to have a tidy looking kitchen and not to have to hand wash anything. And I have the space, so that is one place that I'm a bit actually of a maximalist, not a minimalist. However, that said, one place that I am a bit of a minimalist is in my kitchenware. I don't keep any seasonal mugs. I don't use them. I just find that I don't want to have mugs that need to be put away. In general, I don't use a lot of seasonal decor. I just don't enjoy it the way some other people do. So that's me, right? It's all about finding that balance. Where are the places you can easily cut back because it doesn't cost you a thought? You know, for some people, a goal is to have like a really pretty seasonal look to their home. That's not my goal. So I don't do any Halloween mugs. I don't do any Christmas mugs, nothing like that. It is just whatever mugs I have are the mugs that I use year round. Same goes for dish towels in here. Same goes for rugs, but I do a little bit of Christmas stuff. So that's not entirely true. I just like having simple things that I can use all year round and I just don't have to think about them very much. And I just don't love the act of putting things away. So that's an easy place for me to include a more minimalist outlook in my kitchen. Such a beautiful day, I just had to step out. So the other thing I want to talk about in terms of easy minimalism is that, you know, you need to be kind to yourself in terms of where you are in life right now. Not all of what you see and hear about minimalism is going to be for you right now. Try and remember some points in your life are temporary. Like, I know if you're a parent of young kids, this can be a stress point. It just feels like things are untidy all the time. My son, when he was small, always had these giant brooder trucks. And if you've ever seen them, they're like this big. They're large. And he had maybe 6 of them strewn all about the house. We tried to kind of put them in parking spots, but I mean, we didn't feel minimalist at the time. And it was kind of bothering me. I'm not going to lie. They're like bright, they're gaudy. If you're trying to keep like a low-key minimalist home environment, these things stick out like a sore thumb. We felt crowded by them. And you know what was wrong at the time? My mindset. I read in an IKEA catalog, of all places, one little blurb, and the blurb said, try to remember when your kids are young and their toys are in your living room that it's not forever. And that's true. I changed how I thought about it and I became okay with it, and he outgrew it. And then I was kind of sad because, you know, it does go fast. The days are long, but the years fly by, as the saying goes. So, you know, maybe minimalism is not for you right now. It doesn't mean that that's always going to be the way. Try and keep the larger picture in focus. And if nothing else, I hope you take away from this video that you can find minimalism in other spots. Maybe you can't do it in the kitchen. Maybe you can do it in your wardrobe instead. Maybe you can't do it in your living room, but maybe you can do it in your bathroom instead. Maybe it's actually other parts of your life that are kind of psychologically crowding you out. And that's where you need to start looking at minimalism. So let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk now about psychological minimalism, which I think is probably more important than aesthetic minimalism. The key way that I practice this is that I don't overschedule myself. I still use a paper journal, so anything I need to do gets jotted down in here, and just the act of taking it from in my brain and putting it on the paper really does help me mentally. And the other thing I do is I don't schedule appointments. I mean, aside from work, I will not schedule appointments back to back, like one day after another. I always leave at least a day in between them because that's what I need to not feel stressed about them, because you can overclutter your life, but you can overclutter your schedule as well. And I've been dealing with a lot of different medical appointments. I'm fine, by the way, but I just had so many of them in a row. I was just really careful to make sure that I had a little bit of breathing room in between them, and it made a world of difference. I'm also an accidental adherent of the slow living movement, which I have older vlogs about that if you care to see my whole journey about how that happened to me, because I don't feel like I chose it. I feel like it kind of chose me. But to that end, I don't say yes to everything. And I think that that's a really good headspace also to put yourself into as you move into this idea of decluttering, not just your space, but also your time, your mind, all of that. I belong to a fiber arts group where we every Monday get together and we work on our embroidery, and I could go a second day. There's another one happening nearby on a Thursday. I choose not to do that though, because I know that there's just a point where it stops being fun and it starts to feel like obligation or just too many things in my week. And that's not what I want. So I'm really careful. I don't say yes to everything. Okay, so that we're not all talk and no action, I wanted to show you a little minimalism hack that's a little early for me to tell if it's working really well yet, but I think it's gonna be a winner. And that is I really got serious about organizing exactly how I use my makeup in the morning and like the steps in which I go through them. So typically I'll wake up and I'll just spritz myself with my favorite perfume, which is this Jo Malone English Pear and Sweet Pea. And if you like perfume, but you don't like it to be ultra strong, check out Jo Malone's perfumes because you spritz them and they're very nice, but they don't like overpower you all day long. And then I got very serious about how it is that I put on my makeup, the exact steps that I take. So this is what I've done to that end. I've got my Merit foundation stick and the brush I use to smooth it on right next to each other here. Then I've got like all my eyebrow stuff and my eyeshadow stuff right here, which is this Charlotte Tilbury little eyeshadow quad. And then the brushes that I use, my eyeliner, my two blushes, also from Merit. I'll have links to all these things down below. And my eyelash curler and my mascara. This is the exact way that I put my things on, starting from the perfume, ending with the mascara. So I think that this is gonna be a really good hack because, you know, for years I've been sort of like just rummaging around in my makeup container. And then the other day I thought to myself, like, why are you doing that? That is so much wasted time and energy plucking through these things. Why not just lay them out the exact order you wear this minimalist makeup routine every single day? I guess jury's still out, but I've used this now twice, 2 days in a row, and I'm really liking this system. So one place I've been a little less effective at decluttering is with my skincare collection. And that is because I do test skincare products and I get a lot of them sent to me in PR. And speaking of which, I just actually had to pop down in between clips here because I just got another skincare delivery and it came with a box. And I actually want to tell you a tip with this box. So let's just quickly open this, see what it is. If you don't know me, I've been making product reviews for a very long time, like 6 years, 7 years, something like that. So I get sent PR all the time now, which is kind of fun, but you end up with a lot of stuff. So my key thing with getting deliveries, I mean, whether you do this, whether you get a lot of Amazon, I don't know your life, but unbox it. Don't leave these brown boxes around. These brown boxes left strewn about the house are just an easy place for you to declutter. Collapse them, but keep one, and here's why. Okay, first of all, let's see what this is. So black tissue paper, OneSkin. I do not know what this is. Let's see what they sent me. Okay, cute little doors to open it. You Dream We Restore. This is a peptide lip mask. Oh, I know who this is. Yes, they've sent me some other products before. Okay, that's why I'm getting this. Oh, perfect. Okay, I have very dry lips, so I will be testing this out. Oh, very nice packaging. Oh my goodness, look at this. There's a little door to open this and a little mirror. Very cute. Let's use the box. If you are trying to declutter, one of my best tips is to put things in purgatory. And for that, all you need is a box or a bag or someplace you can just store things. Because I think a lot of us get overwhelmed by the purge required from minimalism. And that's what makes it difficult. And you just sit there trying to figure out whether you're going to need something like in 2 months from now, or whether you can realistically live without it. And why do we need to be so black and white? My suggestion is get a box like this and start going through your things and figuring out what is it you can put aside and you think you maybe are not going to look at for the next month. If you're not sure, put them in your purgatory box. So putting things in purgatory is such a great way to step in to being more minimalist without feeling all the pressure that you need to do a whole house clearing and a lot of the stress because, you know, there's a lot of sunk cost in these things. So for example, me, I haven't touched this Timeless vitamin C. I found that since I switched to using a good quality LED mask in the mornings. My skin texture does not seem to require vitamin C anymore. So I'm gonna put this in here, which is not a forever step. It's just a purgatory step. And if I don't touch this by the time Christmas time comes around, these things are going. But if I go and I pull them back out, then I know that it is something that I'm not ready to get rid of. Don't make everything so all or nothing. I think that that is kind of a destructive mind space where you feel like, I need to clean sweep everything. And there's a time and place for that. But when you're unsure, you don't have to. Just put it in purgatory. So I'll find a few more bits and bobs around the house. You know, I'll just start adding things in here. Okay, now I've got down to the stuff I know I use daily and I love. These things a little less so. I'm gonna put these in my closet. And if I don't think about them and I open that closet in a few months and I look at the box, I'll know that I can get rid of it. And bonus marks for like just putting the date on here, maybe that you need to rethink it. So I'll put like December 15th, for example, and I'll just revisit it then. And I don't have to think about it now. You see? Easy. The purgatory method works really good for makeup in particular. It works well in the linen closet for maybe things you're not using. It works well in the kitchen. I mean, there pretty much isn't a space where the purgatory method is not going to work. In your garage, wherever there are things that you're pretty sure you're not using a lot, but you're not 100% sure, put them in purgatory. As we start to approach the year 2026, it's a really good time to start thinking about if you want to pursue minimalism, not just how you're going to jump into it like full scale January 1st, but rather what are the goals behind it? Like, why do you want to pursue this in the first place? Because I think when you get clear on your goals, it makes all the rest of it fall into place. This guy's frozen because I'm staring at him. Maybe your goal is that you just want to live in a house that's tidier, or you just want like less noise in your life. And those are all valid things, but I think it's good to get clear on it and not just pursue minimalism for the abstract goal of minimalism. I think it works best when it serves an actual purpose other than just aspiration. A lot of minimalist life is aspirational life, and there's like a whole thing that like people are using an intentional color palette, and a lot of it is for show, what you see on YouTube. People are putting away things that are normally out because they're too ugly to look at. You know, there's like a lot of pieces going on that you have to detach yourself from to really understand what purpose it's going to serve in your life. Just so beautiful out here lately. I love late fall. Here's one of these little libraries I was telling you about. And so yeah, I'll drop off books here. Take one, leave one kind of thing. These are such a great idea. So they just sold their house, and I guess this is what happens when you have too many books, right? You start to get rid of them and you put them out like this. I just hope it doesn't rain. That would upset me because all of these then will get wet and ruined. Ooh, Villette, Charlotte Bronte. There's actually some good stuff here. I'm tempted. Being a book lover, I was sorely tempted there, but you know what? They did get wet. They're wet. So I'm not taking any of those home. It was quite chilly out there. I'm just now going to have my third hot drink of the day. If you watch any of my videos, you know I'm an absolute fiend for hot drinks, especially this time of year. No fewer than 3 or 4. I leave my dishwasher just partly open like this. I don't know, am I the only one who does this? This just helps the plastic really dry off and just the humidity and the wetness of the dishes just come into the air, which I actually quite need. It's quite dry right now, and we've got the central heating on. I can't remember where I learned this tip, like after it's dry, you just open the door and let it evaporate, but I've been doing it this way for a good, must be about 20 years now. It also helps the dishes cool off a little faster so that you can put them away. I splurged on some Twinings tea because I got tired of the, I think, red rose that we had, which tasted terrible, and I'm just gonna make myself one of my favorites, which is an Earl Grey. Like everything I do in this channel, and by the way, if you are enjoying it, please do like and subscribe. That way I'll know you want more of this kind of content. Like everything that I try and do is I try and make life approachable. I try and break things down and give like concrete little tips that I've learned along the way, especially when I think the messaging is needed and I think I have something valuable to add. Otherwise I wouldn't make these videos. That's the honest truth. What am I doing? I need to let that steep a bit more. Okay. So when it comes to books, I've become very intentional in what I purchase. And this is not going to work for everybody, but this is the technique that works for me, which is that there are authors out there who, whenever they have a book, I have to buy it. It's increasingly difficult to be a writer. I know because I am one. So whenever Zadie Smith releases something, I will always purchase. Samantha Irby is another writer who I love. And there's some books where I borrow them from the library. And what I'll do is, you know, I don't know if the Zadie Smith book collection of essays is going to be something I want to hold on to. I don't hold on to books. I try and be really generous with them in that I like to give them away. I like to see who maybe wants them in my life. And then we have those like little free library boxes all throughout my neighborhood, and I will drop it off because I am honest with myself. I'm not big on rereading. So once I'm done, I'm pretty much done. And if my husband doesn't care to read it, I will send it on its merry way, and I'm fine with that. And then there's some books where I'm interested in reading them, but I don't want their energy inside of my house. So I'm a little bit particular about that. For instance, there's this book called Rejection, and it's been an interesting kind of cringy read, but the themes are very dark and I don't want them in here. So I just have it on my e-reader instead. So the actual physical book does not enter into my space, which helps me with minimalism. And it's a way for me to enjoy the book without taking it on. Just not physically having it means I feel like I'm not really taking it on. Even with magazines, I've switched to reading them online. In fact, The New Yorker, I've discovered I can actually access from my library's Libby app. Check that out. I mean, it is good to use your public library. If you don't use it, then they won't get their funding. I'm also reading the Gwyneth book right now that I got from the library. I've got the New Yorker on there and I can read it like that. So I'm not the biggest fan of everything digital, but I think there's a really good place for it when it comes to like magazines and books. So the other thing that I like to do in the realm of digital minimalism is that I only have one streaming subscription at a time, and I do rotate them. And that kind of keeps things fresh because I feel like when you have too many, or even sometimes when you have one, Netflix in particular, there's almost a tyranny of choice. There's just too much. It just feels overwhelming. You spend a lot of time just looking for something to watch, and I don't enjoy that. But what I like to do is give myself a bit of time pressure that way. If I have Netflix only once every season, I'll cancel it, then I'll get Disney Plus or whatever my family's into, maybe like Amazon Prime TV or whatever that's called. I will rotate through them. And because you only have that 1 month, it really does put some pressure on you to watch what you're interested in and get it done before the month ends. So that is one little tip I use for not feeling overwhelmed, because these streaming services are supposed to be additive to your life. They're not supposed to take away 20 minutes of indecision of your life every night. So much of the appeal of minimalism is just a pushback against the tyranny of choice. And so that is one simple way that I personally push back against that in my life. Now, if you have little kids, you probably have to have Disney Plus, and that's just the way it is. I get that, but maybe you can try that with some of your other services. Minimalism comes easy to some people, and it does not to other people. And it's going to be easy for you if that's naturally where your headspace is. And you're going to struggle if that's just not who you are. You have a kind of a mindset where you just love to have a lot of things and it brings you joy. I'm not here to make a moral decision on which one is right and which one is wrong. You can definitely be so minimalist that you're just denying yourself things for no good reason. I've even done that sometimes, and then I've just been mad at myself later. Like, why am I suffering like this when an XYZ could have solved the problem and it's not even that expensive in the scope of things, or maybe it is a bit of a splurge? What else am I saving my money for, if not to make my life a little bit better in the now? There is a reason that people stock up on things. People like to have an abundance, and that is scarcity mindset. Some of us grew up with a bit of a scarcity mindset because, we didn't have a lot. And so when we had money to spare, we wanted to stock up on things, or to have that feeling of, I can purchase this. This is a luxury for myself. I work hard. I should be able to. So again, I am not here to cast a judgment to say that minimalism is the best way to live. But if it is something you're interested in, let me tell you probably my easy minimalism tip of all is, I don't think you're going to want to hear it, but here goes. Let me just show you how this is coming along right now. So I'm just working in, these are called French knots, and I'm just working in here. The easiest minimalism of all, really, is cleaning a lot. Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody thinks that doing some sort of magical 24-hour whirlwind purge of all the crap they have in their house is really where minimalism is. It isn't. If your spaces are not clean, if your home is not clean, one of the easiest things you can do is just clean. I think in North American society anyway, we kind of undervalue cleaning. It's considered this very lowly task. It really shouldn't be. This is a place where you can connect with your space, connect with your surroundings, be intentional in how things are. Looking after things, being the custodian of things, is, I think, something that is a little bit lost to us here. You are the custodian of the nice things that are in your house, and I would say even the cheap things too. You are the caretaker, and this is a bit of a hot take, but I think you should behave like one as well. So, the idea of minimalism is not just what you buy and what you don't buy, but also rather, how are you looking after the things that you already have? How are you looking after your space? Now, not to say that I don't have my messy moments, like I let my bathrooms get kind of messy in between, but my space can be as tidy, as minimal as ever, and if the floor is sticky and there's hair and visible dust balls that I can see, that to me is not minimalist. Rather than throwing things out, I would rather spend that 15 minutes cleaning up my space, and then I will be in the headspace to know what fits and what doesn't in my life. So, an ode to cleaning up. And I don't love cleaning, let me tell you, I just love for things to be clean. I mean, let's be realistic, right? There's not a lot of glamour in sweeping a floor or, vacuuming or tidying the dining room. It's much more fun, it's much more glamorous to go to like Muji and get all the kind of clear, organizing containers. And I get that urge, I really do. Thinking about how you want to organize your space and keep it clutter-free is fun. It is. But at the end of the day, it is just another kind of acquisition that might hold you back from really living a tidy and organized life. Again, I do these things because I like them to be done rather than I enjoy actually doing them. And I'm certainly not trying to shame anybody about the state of their home. I am just saying, start with the tidying. Just start there. If you want to do easy minimalism, that is the one spot that you need to start. Start with just a good clean of your house. So I'm going to finish off my embroidery. I am nearly done. I just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12-ish French knots to do, and I'm putting this away. Oh my gosh, where did my needle go? If you're into needlecraft, you know that if you just forget for a second where it is, then you can get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. Right, so again, I'm going to finish this off. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Bit of a day in a life, bit of a chat about how hopefully to live in a way that is a little bit more peaceful. If you have a minimalism tip that I didn't mention that's a good one, let us know down below in the comments, or even just drop me an emoji and say hi. All right, I really will leave it off there and finish this up before I lose all light, because you know what, it's like 4 something and it's already getting dark here in Toronto. Okay, see you in the next video.